Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya. युगधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्योत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So we are reading from Canto 5, Chapter 5, Lord Rishabhdev's teachings, text 9. Yada manohridaya granthirasya karmanu baddho dhrida ashlateth tada janah samparivartate smad muktah param yatya atihaya hetum. Yada manohridaya granthirasya karmanu baddho dhrida ashlateta tada janah samparivartate smad muktah param yatya atihaya hetum. Yada manohridaya granthirasya karmanu baddho dhrida ashlateta tada janah samparivartate smad muktah param yatya atihaya hetum.
Yada manohridaya granthirasya karmanu baddho dhrida ashlateta tada janah samparivartate smad muktah param yatya atihaya hetum. Yada manohridaya granthirasya karmanu baddho dhrida ashlateta tada janah samparivartate smad muktah param yatya atihaya hetum. Yada manohridaya granthirasya karmanu baddho dhrida ashlateta tada janah samparivartate smad muktah param yatya atihaya hetum.
What word meaning? Yada, when, manaha, the mind, hridaya granthihi, the knot in the heart, asya, of this person, karma anubaddhaha, bound by the results of his past deeds, dridaha, very strong, ashlateta, becomes slackened, tada, at that time, janaha, the conditioned soul, samparivartate, turns away, asmat, from this attachment for sex life, muktaha, liberated, param, to the transcendental world, yati, goes, atihaya, giving up, hetum, the original cause. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. When the strong knot in the heart of a person implicated in material life due to the results of past action is slackened, one turns away from his attachment to home, wife, and children. In this way, one gives up the basic principle of illusion, I and mine, and becomes liberated. Thus, one goes to the transcendental world. Purport. When by associating with sadhus and engaging in devotional service, one is gradually freed from material conception due to knowledge, practice, and detachment, the knot of attachment in the heart is slackened. Thus, one can get freed from the conditional life and become eligible to return home back to Godhead. Om Ajnanatamidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guraho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim Yat kripatam mande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Krishna. So we're discussing some very wonderful verses from chapter 5 of Canto 5, Lord Rishabhadev's teachings. And all these verses are the verses for renunciants. I would say they're apt verses for brahmachari class. Yes, where is every single verse which Rishabhadev is saying. Sometimes I really wonder that how, if outside people come in touch with these verses and the purports of Srila Prabhupada, what will happen to them? Prabhupada is talking about attachment, detachment, and so many things which people naturally in this world cannot digest. In one of the class I was saying that at the age of 50, after the age of 50, one should quit one's occupation. There was a discussion on Karma Yoga that was going on. And then we proved that how no one is following Varnashrama. So everyone was asking that, so Prabhu, what has to be done? I said, we have to quit. We have to quit. After the age of 50, we all have to quit. And there was a huge turmoil in the entire audience. And they were like, so early? So early? There was one person who was 70 plus. So that person is telling to another person who was saying, so early. I said, quit, no, what is your problem? And so this person is telling the 70-year-old that, what are you doing? First you quit. So it's very natural that when someone is there in the material world, to be detached, very, very difficult, very difficult. Because this attachment is not this life attachment, no. From so many lifetimes, this attachment has been there. So many lifetimes, yes. So especially when it comes to us as aspiring renunciants. So it's very nice that we can analyze the attachments that we have. Recently, my parents had come I had gone to meet them. So while coming in the car, so my mother was telling me, right from the time you have gone out from the house is so peaceful. But on a serious note, she made a point, when few of my relatives had come, and they were telling, it would have been so nice if you would have been at home and things like that. The natural thing, normal thing what relatives speak. So that time I said, no, in the car while coming, my mother told that since I'm not there, the house is peaceful. Then everyone looking at my mother. And then she started giving purport to that. She said that when he was joining ashram, he had told that when I was asking, who will take care of us? So whatever we'll hear from class here and there, I just repeated. I said, Lord will take care. Whatever is supposed to be given, Lord will take care. So and then my mother was acknowledging and she was saying, actually Lord is taking care. So whatever was needed and whatever is needed, everything is coming. This is very astonishing. My father was also saying it's very astonishing. And this is the thing. The only thing is, when we think, Karta ham iti manyate, I am the one who is the doer. And we become so attached to, I am the one who's supposed to do this, that, etc., etc. But the fact is, whose karma can we change? One of the boy had come and we were discussing about this, Brahmacharya ashram. So he's saying, Prabhuji, I've got a lot of attachment to family. I said, okay, go get married. No, I want to join Brahmacharya ashram also. Now let's see, if I'm not there, who will take care of them? So simple thing, if anyone knows little bit karma philosophy. So even if we stay with them, can we change their karma? Whatever they're supposed to go through, they will go through anyways. We cannot change their karma anyways. Yes. So why waste time? Let's be in the ashram and serve. So here in the previous shloka, yesterday Harishad Prabhu gave a wonderful class on this particular shloka, text 8. Very famous. Ato graha shaitra sutapta vittair janasya mohoyam aham mameti. So this we might have heard so many times in Srila Prabhupada's lectures. So Prabhuji made this wonderful point that when the button of realization is switched off, then the only thing that will be there is darkness. And when darkness is there, we'll get into attachment. And in that darkness, even if n number of things are told to us, we will not be able to understand that particular thing. And in today's verse, there's a solution that is given. How to come out of these attachments. It's a very nice verse, that is there. So today I read the transcription of this particular lecture which Prabhupada gave on this particular verse. So I'll try to contaminate the lecture and speak. So Prabhupada was saying liberation means no more material life. This is how he starts the class there. Liberation means no more material life. And he was saying the basic principle of material life is sex life. Basic principle is sex life. So once Srila Prabhupada was visiting some life member. That life member was showing the various photos and he was telling, so this is my grandson, my son, etc., etc. So at that time, after all that description was done, so Prabhupada was asking the disciple, what was he describing? So Prabhupada then said, he was describing his sex life and nothing else. So there's a very important thing to note that if someone has to get liberated, it's not a very big thing, Prabhupada says. So in 1 minute, one can get liberated. If the person understands this particular point, that liberation means no more material life. That's why in the Vedic system we see that it is based on how to train people to become free from desire of sex. Now if you consider brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyas, It's only in Grihastha ashram that sexual intercourse is allowed. Whereas Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas ashram. So that is strictly prohibited. Now, if the question, if nowadays the way people feel and they have, how they have fantasized and glamorized, the sex. So the way people say, oh, till the last breath, you're supposed to enjoy. But if that was the case, then why in Varnashrama system, the majority of the crowd is expected, to be free from sex life then. So this is a very important point. The training is given like that. So in Brahmacharya ashram, the person is trained to be free from sex life. And then even in Grihastha ashram, the training is there to be free from sex life. The ones who follow Garbhadan Samskar, they will know. One of the devotee who did Garbhadan Samskar begotten 2 kids. So I was just asking that, so roughly what are the different things that a person has to do, in this. Don't get into details, just tell me superficially, what is there, so that I can know what is the thing. So he's saying, bro, first you have to see the calendar and mark the dates when the Garbhadan Samskar can be done. I think, oh, that's it. No, bro, it's very difficult. In a year, you'll get few days only. Because such and such a day, no, it's not possible. Murta is not proper. Ekadashi is this and that, etc., etc. So, if you see, if someone follows the Shastra properly, in Grihastha life also, the person cannot, be just entangled, in the sexual affairs all the time. There's so many restrictions, those are there. And Vanaprastha and Sannyas, there's no question of sex life. So in this way, we understand that how the entire Vedic system is designed in such a way that finally the person has to become free from sex life. And what does that mean? Become free from the material life or material desires. So Prabhupada was making this point that it's not a problem to take birth as a sinful person, but it's a big problem to die as a sinful person. Yes. So when we take birth, we might have got a lot of attachments. And sometimes, most of the time, at least in the age of Kali, the desires are all sinful. Sinful desires because of the kutam, bijam, whatever from past life. So it's not a problem, to be a sinful right from birth, but it's a big problem if a person dies sinful. It means if he has not used his human form to transform, his life and become pure. Right? So it's a very important thing to note that human life is meant for transforming oneself and nothing else. Human life is meant for transforming oneself. So Prabhupada was giving the example of Jagai and Madhai. So Jagai and Madhai, they were so sinful. I was hearing from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Yamraj Sankirtan, that particular chapter. So in that, Yamraj is talking to Chitragupta, and there's a great discussion that is happening. And Chitragupta is complaining that all my staff is tired of writing their sinful activities, what they are doing. And there are people who are speaking about the sinful activities because they have to dictate and they are writing. They are also tired speaking. So entire staff is tired. Oh Yamaraj. And then Yamaraj is asking, but what happened now? And then Chitragupta is telling that, now all the sins are gone. Now all the sins are gone, all the hard work it is gone. Because this personality, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, has delivered Jagai and Madhai. And just by hearing that, Yamaraj went crazy. And he started jumping in ecstasy and he fainted. And then all the Devatas come and they see Yamaraj fainted. Now they wake him up by chanting Hare Krishna. And then when he gets up again, he starts jumping and dancing and looking at his ecstasy and associating with mad people, they also become mad. All of them are jumping and dancing in ecstasy. So when Jagai and Madhai's Uddhara was happening, when the deliverance was happening, so at that time, when both Jagai and Madhai surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that part is so nice, to speak. Maybe I'll speak that part. Where both the brothers, Gauranga and Nityananda, they have decided to deliver Jagai and Madhai. So when Lord came with Sudarshan Chakra, so at that time Nityananda Prabhu is saying that Madhai picked up the pot, the broken pot, to throw at me. And then you know what? Jagai came in between and he said, no, don't do that. And by mistakenly it fell. Mistakenly it fell. And this is what happened. But Jagai saved me. And then Mahaprabhu was so happy. He went walking all the way to Jagai. He blessed him and he showed his four-handed form, and Jagai was in ecstasy. Now, looking at Jagai was in ecstasy, Madhai, was become very restless. We are one soul in two bodies. No, because our activities are like that. We sin together. We did all this together. Now he is delivered, I am not delivered. And Madhai goes and he surrenders to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is begging and praying that please accept me also. And Lord is saying, no, your offense. Lord says, no, I cannot. And at that time, Madhai is saying, no, no, you cannot say this. And he is making a point that previously, those people who were hitting you with sharp arrows, you delivered them. They offended you in so many ways. You delivered them. Oh Lord, please deliver me also. And at that time, Lord is saying that your offense is much more greater than their offense, what they committed. Because you have offended my Nityananda. Only he can save you. And at that time, Madhai goes running and he falls at the feet of Nityananda. Now look at Gauranga Mahaprabhu's dialogue. Gauranga is saying, Nityananda, look, Madhai is falling at your feet. Please forgive him. When I was hearing this, I was not understanding, should I laugh or should I cry on this? And then after that, Nityananda Prabhu is saying, oh Lord, everything is the transformation of your mercy. So, and then Gauranga Mahaprabhu is saying, so if you have forgave him, if you have forgave him, then embrace him now. And Nityananda Prabhu embraces Madhai. In this way, they both got delivered. There's such a strategic plan that is there. All drama that is happening to deliver these two personalities. So wonderful drama. I hope this drama happens in our life also. Yes. So these two personalities, when they got delivered, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Gauranga, he asked one question, that will you repeat these sinful activities again? And at that time, Jagai and Madhai, they're saying, Aar nahi re baap. No more sinful activity after this. So they decided that they will not commit sin. So Prabhupada was saying that if you decide that you will not commit sin and take shelter of Krishna, I would like to read the line as it is. If you take shelter of Krishna and do not act in such a way that you again fall down, then you are liberated. So Prabhupada said, if you take shelter of Krishna and do not act in such a way that you again fall down, then you are liberated. So this is a very important point. So it's not a big thing to get liberated. This is what Prabhupada was saying. It's all about taking shelter of the Lord and not repeating the same mistake again, the same sinful activity again. Therefore, liberation, definition as we all know, muktir hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthitihi. That is, a person who is there in his constitutional position as a servant of the Lord, that person is already liberated. Now, this is a very nice statement that is there to meditate on. It's a very simple statement. Okay, being in one's constitutional position of being a servant and you're already liberated. But then there is a lot of depth in this. Because just because we're not able to realize that I'm servant of Krishna, we are there in the cycle of birth and death, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Yes. Just because we're not able to realize this one particular point. Yes. Ya yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikhilasvapi avasthasu jivan muktasa uchyate. So who is that person who is liberated? Who is always engaged in service of the Lord by Ya yasya harer dasya karmana manasa and gira. By one's actions, by one's mind, by one's speech. When they are engaged in the service of the Lord all the time, those people are considered to be mukta. Those people are considered to be liberated. So this is a very nice thing to note, that only because this realization is not there, that we are servants of the Lord, we are actually stuck very badly in this material world. Now what happens, when we get into illusion? Most of the time we are in illusion only, sometimes we are into Krishna consciousness. But then the point is, what happens, when the darkness is there, when those realizations which we had before have already gone, or have gone because of some offense. So what happens at that point? And that particular state of existence of ours, for whatever short time that is, we forget that we are servant of Krishna. We forget that why am I here? What is actually the goal of human form of life? If you see in Bhagavatam class, speaker does not have many points to speak. Yes. There are only few points which are there. And out of that, this is one. That human life is very rare and we are servants of Krishna. And when we get into illusion, we forget that. Now, when we actually get into illusion, we actually forget. And whatever the person is saying, that no, you're servant of Krishna, and the person is, no, I'm servant of my wife, I'm servant of my kid, servant of my parents. So entire mind is bewildered, completely the person gets bewildered. And his attachments are so much increased at that particular point of time. So this is what happens when someone is in illusion. And just imagine for devotees, there's a dip, in life. At times, multiple times it will be there in everyone's life. When there will be so much of darkness that we will not understand, why am I here? And there will be so much of attachment that will develop, unnecessary attachments. Now just imagine outside people who are there, they don't hear Bhagavatam class. They don't have any spiritual practice. They're always in illusion. So that's why to realize that I'm servant of Krishna is such a very big thing and such a very difficult thing for them. Such a very difficult thing for them. In fact, if you say you're servant, people get offended. You are servant, I am not. Who said I am servant? You're servant of Krishna. No, I am not. I am not. So for outside people, it's very difficult. So similarly, when we also get into illusion, in darkness, it's very difficult at that time. So yesterday Prabhuji was making this very wonderful point, that at that particular point of time, when we are disturbed, when we are in darkness, don't do anything. Just make sure that we are there in the ashram, we are there doing our devotional service and practicing, praying intensely. In fact, during that time when someone says pray intensely, person will not understand also what to pray. At least this is what I observed. Very difficult, in that particular stage, to understand what to pray, what to do. But then important thing is in that disturbed state of existence, it's very difficult to decide anything. So the person has to get clarity, the person has to calm down. That's very, very important, right? Basically, one has to come back to the realization that I am servant of Krishna and not servant of anyone else. So recently one boy, had come, I was discussing with him, just testing him, his strength of joining Brahmacharya ashram. So I said, Prabhu, see, you're saying all this, but you want to miss that very sweet rasa of married life with the wife. Then, he said, Prabhuji, millions of lifetimes I've done this only, Prabhu. Like, that's an amazing realization. That's an amazing realization. Even for me also this question was asked by Leela Purushottam Prabhu. Prabhuji took me to Leela Purushottam Prabhu, was sitting in the room. And Prabhuji introduced that Prabhu, he wants to join Brahmacharya ashram. And Leela Purushottam Prabhu in his original, in his normal way, you're not married? And I'm thinking, what? He's just introducing that I'm going to join ashram and he's saying you're not married. Then, I just took some time to understand what was the question. I said, no, I'm married. I was married many, many times. I had many, many kids. Yes. Now give this life, for Prabhupada's mission. So this is a fact. If someone, who is in illumination or who is in knowledge, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, that person will be able to realize that it is done. So many lifetimes I've done this. So this statement I told my mother when I was joining. She was telling, see, this life you've not done anything, no enjoyment, nothing. You utilize life Krishna has given for what? I said, I've done many, many lifetimes. And she, but this life you didn't do, no. This life you didn't do. So, if at all, if we had this siddhi of remembering what nonsense we have done in the past, then automatically I think every single boy will join Brahmacharya ashram. Yes. Anyway, so the point is this, that when someone is in knowledge and not in darkness, such a person will be able to realize that I am servant of Krishna. I wasted so many lifetimes in just serving Maya. Let me give this life now for Krishna. Enough of the family business, enough of the business of marriage, enough of the business of kids, etc. etc. This life is meant for service of Krishna, bas. And if Krishna is served, everything else will be taken care. He will take care of rest of the things. When devotee was making this point. But Krishna's taking care method is different. He takes care of consciousness always and bodies sometime. We should be ready for that. Prabhupada is saying this, that when one gets the knowledge, now how do we get the knowledge? Let's discuss this point. How does a person gets the knowledge? So when we hear from the realized souls attentively, so what happens is, by their purity, by their presence, we also get that realization. So it's very, very important to hear attentively the realized souls, like Srila Prabhupada. Now, many times people ask, what service can we do? So this is the main service. That is the Vani Seva. If we can hear attentively, respecting the speaker, respecting, when we are hearing Srila Prabhupada's audio, so respecting Srila Prabhupada's Vani, if we hear it carefully and try to do smaranam on that, or try to remember various instructions that Prabhupada gives, that itself is a service, that is there. Yes. And just by doing that service, the person will be bestowed with wonderful realizations, because we are doing a seva to a pure devotee, and by the mercy of pure devotee, we'll be able to realize various aspects that he had spoken. That's how one gets knowledge. So when we serve Mahat, by the mercy of Mahat, we get the knowledge. Because knowledge or in spiritual life is not mugging up things. We can mug up in a lot of purports, a lot of verses, word to word meaning ke saath. But that is not actually knowledge. Because in spiritual life, knowledge is the illumination that is given by Krishna in the heart. Chapter 10, Shloka 11, Bhagavad Gita. Tesham evanu kampartam aham agyana jamtamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhashvatah. If someone pleases Krishna, so at that time, what happens? When Lord is pleased, as a special mercy, as a special favor on that devotee, he removes the darkness and he lights the lamp of knowledge. So yesterday, Harishab and myself were discussing something, and Prabhuji made some wonderful points. That if we feel that we are in darkness, if our attachments are increasing, if we are doing something like this, then it's very important that every activity that we are doing, if we can do it with the mood, any simple activity. We were discussing about Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo, doing those, I think, 11 items which are there. So if we can do it with the mood to please Guru and Krishna, that simple activity itself will give the illumination, will help the person to come out of whatever attachment the person is in. Very, very strong point. So I was meditating on that yesterday. So this is how a person gets knowledge, by serving. And then Prabhupada is saying that when someone gets the knowledge, like for example, he said, 6 desires implicating me more and more in karma, karmanubandha, that's the word that is used. And after that, then he tries to get free from it. Now this is also very important. Endeavor is very, very important. Where we show to the Lord that I want to get out of this particular entanglement that I am in. So he tries to get out of it. And then Prabhupada was saying, then he becomes eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So when we are looking away from Krishna, when we are not endeavoring, when we have no desire like that, when we are looking away from Krishna, we are Bahirmukh. And when we are Bahirmukh, we are Baddha. We are bound in this material world. And when we look towards Krishna, when we do devotional service by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, when we turn towards Krishna, we become Mukta. We become Mukta. And that is what is a state of illumination that is there. Yes. So in this way, 3 things which Prabhupada is mentioning in this particular purport. When by associating with sadhus and engaging in devotional service, one is gradually freed from the material conception due to, first he says, knowledge. So by associating with a sadhu, first thing that a person will get is knowledge. Second, he'll be inspired to practice that particular thing that the sadhu has spoken. Yes. Sometimes, when we give class and when people don't follow, we realize what sort of sadhus we are. So here, when a sadhu speaks and the person is hearing attentively, so the person gets the knowledge and he is inspired to practice. He endeavors on the path. And when he practices, since he is following the instruction of a sadhu, he is following the instruction of a pure devotee, what happens? He gets more and more realizations. Because that's the mercy that is flowing in life now. So when we hear Prabhupada's lecture or Guru Maharaj lecture, so if we can just implement at least one instruction, any instruction that we hear, if we can implement some instruction, since that instruction is given by a pure devotee, and when we follow that, Krishna will be very pleased by that endeavor. Just one instruction. This question was asked to Radhanath Swami Maharaj in a class. I was present in that class. So one devotee got up and he said that Maharaj, we want personal instructions from you. But there's so much of crowd always around you, we are not able to get that. So Maharaj said that you hear my classes and you can pick up any instruction and that will be my personal instruction for you all. So that's a very strong point, made by a spiritual master. So if we can just pick those instructions which are given and execute that, that itself will attract a lot of mercy of the Lord, because we have pleased or we are following the instruction of a pure devotee. So when all these things are done, then what happens? Then comes detachment. The knot of attachment in the heart is slackened. So this is what will happen finally. Knowledge, practice, and detachment, and basically detachment means knot of attachment in the heart is slackened. Thus one can get freed from conditional life and become eligible to return home back to Godhead. So this is what is told here. The Prabhupada was saying that sannyas ashram is the topmost ashram that is there. But he was saying sannyas is also practice. How to come to the perfectional stage. The perfectional stage is to be engaged practically, not theoretically. Engaged in the service of the Lord, according to his capacity. So very nice points which Prabhupada has made here. He says engaged in the service of the Lord according to his capacity. Not that everyone will be able to do everything that is not required. Now say we have decided that yes, I want to follow the instruction, I want to serve. So obviously there will be comparison that will be there. Oh, that devotee is able to do more, I am not able to do. And when all this comparison comes, so at that time maybe your enthusiasm will go down. But Prabhupada makes a very strong point. He says Krishna is not stereotyped that he has to be served in this way only. No, Krishna can accept any service, accept service in so many ways. And he is not expecting everyone to serve the same way with the same capacity, because all of us have different capacities, right? So if we can give our 100% in service of Krishna, in the service of Guru, we will become purified. And the knowledge aspect that we are speaking, that knowledge or that illumination will be bestowed onto us. Right? So for this, Prabhupada was saying that how Krishna accepts service in so many ways. So he's speaking about Rasa Leela on Kurukshetra. Have you heard about Rasa Leela on Kurukshetra? So there were love bites which Krishna was getting on the Kurukshetra battlefield. Yes. And who was biting? Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev was throwing arrows at the Lord. And those arrows, which were hitting the Lord's body or piercing the Lord's body, those were different, Acharya say, those were different love bites. And Krishna was relishing this thing from his devotee. So it's a very important thing to note that it is not that Krishna is relishing only Madhurya Rasa that is there. That there are 12 rasas. And Krishna relishes all of them. And when he is relishing any rasa, that becomes Rasa Leela. This was Prabhupada was saying this point. Very nice point. That becomes Rasa Leela. So why people are just interested in Rasa Leela, with the gopis? Why not with Bhishma Dev? So true devotee will relish the rasa which Krishna is relishing with his pure devotee like Bhishma Dev. So in this way we understand that Krishna can accept service in so many ways. So many ways. So it's foolishness that thinking, oh no, this is the only way that a person has to serve. So understanding our capacity, if we can serve the Lord, the mission, under the guidance of a senior devotee, we'll get purified and that illumination will happen. So many times, at least in India, we will see, the ones who are in saffron will agree. As soon as people see saffron clothes, Swamiji blessings. Yes. So once Prabhupada was in the train, and one couple came to take blessings of Prabhupada, and they said that Swamiji, aap Ashirwad dijiye hame. And Prabhupada would really not like this line, Ashirwad dijiye. So when they got up, so Prabhupada said that if I give you Ashirwad, he pointed at his sannyasi disciples and he said, you'll become like them. And the couple who was there, they ran away from that place. So what is that Ashirwad? Prabhupada is saying here, not that simply asking, give me your blessing. And why? Are you worthy for blessings? Cheap blessing. And blessing also, They do not know what is blessing. They think that I have got some disease. If the saintly person gives me some blessing, I'll be relieved from this disease. Now, why don't you go to the doctor, but go to the saintly person for curing your disease? Many times, I'm sure many of you might have heard this statement. So, why you want to take blessing for your material life, to improve your material life? So, how to actually get blessings from a sadhu is to serve the sadhu in whatever way possible. So recently, it was a statement that we have been hearing many times, but that struck very nicely. I was meditating on this point that I'm not able to serve a Mahat. That was the foolish speculation that was going on. Oh, I'm not able to serve. Then in one of the Bhagavatam class, that's why this Bhagavatam class is so important. You might have heard many times, but sometimes simple statements will strike us very nicely. So that devotee was saying, I think, I don't know which class that was. So that devotee was saying that if you want to serve Mahat, so just hear the class of Prabhupada, hear the class of Guru Maharaj and do what they're saying. That's Mahat Seva. Now what else is needed? And I was like, my God, yeah, that's what that's what I'm searching for. So how to actually get blessings, how to get mercy of a sadhu, a pure devotee, is by serving them. Serving what? Serving their instructions or following their instructions. So when we follow the instructions of a sadhu, serve the sadhu, what happens? Knowledge will be inspired to practice, detachment will come, and that is the knot in the heart, the Hridaya Granthi will get slackened. So this is the theme, that is there in this particular, the two purports, the one previously 8, shloka number 8 and shloka number 9. So in this way, Prabhupada is giving us the flow, knowledge, practice and detachment. So I pause here if you have any questions. Any questions?
One question regarding the instruction, as you mentioned, that Radhanath Swami Maharaj mentioned that we should pick up, we can pick up any instruction from the lecture and we can apply it in our day-to-day lives. But generally, the tendency will be to pick up something which is suiting us or which will be favorable to us, and mode won't be to please the spiritual master. Mode will be, okay, this instruction is easier and I can easily apply. So how to understand which instruction to pick up, that is the most.
This was a conversation between Prabhupada and one Prabhupada disciple, where Prabhupada disciple was saying that I like preaching and I don't feel that to be an austerity. Yes. So this is your instruction. So normally following instruction means there should be some austerity. So I'm not feeling that austerity. So Prabhupada, correct me if I'm wrong, Prabhupada was saying something like, then you're fortunate that the instruction that is given is palatable for you. Something like that. So it doesn't matter that instruction is difficult or easy. The fact that I am picking up that instruction, following, that itself is a big thing. And when it comes to the mood, I'm not doing it for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. That's a lifetime project that is there. So we have to keep reminding ourselves, why am I here in devotional service? I'm here to please Guru and Krishna. So it's a lifetime project, no doubt. Because so many lifetimes, only one thing that we're doing is pleasing oneself. And suddenly by hearing one Bhagavatam class, we have to please Guru and Krishna, the mentality is not going to change. So again and again we have to keep reminding. That's why we see in the Narottam Das Thakur's that Guru Puja that we sing. So in that so many times it is given that attachment to the lotus feet of Guru is the highest thing. Attachment to the words of the Guru is the highest thing. Right? So with time, by the mercy of the Lord, we'll be able to get to that mood. If someone can get that, that's a very big achievement. Just imagine doing everything for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. That's a big achievement. That's a great blessing, from the Lord. So the fact that I'm picking up some instruction and I'm following, that itself is a big thing. And now when it comes to the mood, we have to keep modifying, we have to keep molding it, and we have to keep checking it again and again. And at least theoretically, reminding oneself that let me do it for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. At least theoretically. And when Lord sees the endeavor, by His mercy, anything is possible.
So apart from this, this is one thing that we pick up instructions from that lecture, but some personal instructions maybe from the authorities who are nearby. So based on our level or based on whatever things we have, so that will be definitely needed, because instructions, again, as I told, we can pick and choose whatever, but we might not progress or purify because we are not taking the instructions which are meant for us.
Yeah, see, when our superiors are giving us instruction, no doubt we have to follow that. This is regarding when we hear the class, audio lectures when we are hearing. So following, how to serve by following the instructions.
Just
Some
like that,
instruction.
one day OT in base was sharing, like Prabhupada has given the instruction of sleeping for 7 hours. You can, if someone wants to sleep, you can pick up that instruction. Like,
That's okay. If he says Prabhupada is told to sleep for 7 hours, if he's following that, it's a big thing. In Kali Yuga, people sleep, for 10 hours, 12 hours. If someone reduces to 7, I think that's a good thing. Anyways, the point was this, that how to serve the Mahat by hearing the lectures and following the instruction that was given. So I just gave an example that how a spiritual master told that, pick up any instruction and follow. But as you rightly said, the instructions which our superiors are giving, looking at our level, our situation, circumstance, yes, that has to be followed. And we will see that it will be in line with what the great souls are saying. It will not be something different. Yeah. Anything else? Let's hear some realizations from devotees. Nice.
Regarding Jagai Mata and below so when they were in a sinful life and other life, one point comes the point of realization. So they turn their life. And we discussed about how was there before and how after that. But whatever the inner find they undergo after changing, like a sinful life to the pure life. So in that point of time, when the inner fight is going on, so what is their nature and mindset, and what should do, what should not do?
So when this Jagai Madhaya Uddhar happened, so after that, it was a very blissful time for all the devotees. Advaitacharya had already made this statement, in the first time when Jagai Madhaya chased Nityananda and Haridas. So at that time Advaitacharya made this statement, Haridas, you see very soon these two drunkards will be coming and dancing in the association of devotees. And this prophecy was fulfilled. So all the devotees were so happy and so blissful. And Jagai and Madhaya, they were getting that personal association of the Lord. But then they always had a very painful situation in their heart, always. Because they were remembering all that they had done. And there was one person, was not able to forgive himself at all, and that was Madhaya. All the time, the only thing that he was thinking about is that scene when he had hit Nityananda and when the blood was flowing, from the forehead of Nityananda. So always he was lamenting. Always he was lamenting. And then there's a discussion where it is in one of the chapter of Chaitanya Bhagavat, where Madhaya is offering elaborate prayers to Nityananda Prabhu. So that is the mood. Even in Ajamil's pastime, we see that where the person remembers the past and he laments and regrets for what the person has done. Prabhupada writes in one of the purport where he says that the advancement in spiritual life is possible when the devotee regrets for the past sinful activities that he has done. I think in the Ajamil section only that particular statement comes. So he regrets, he laments, for the same. And he intensely prays, and then he decides no more going back. It's only, going ahead and serving Krishna. That is the mode that we see in Jagai Madhaya and Ajamil. This is what, yes. That's the inner fight that is there.
So this aspect of liberation means no more material life, and sex life is the root of the material attachment. So, and then the Vedic system is fully focused on how to actually take us out of this sex life. And we discussed about like how if we take shelter of Krishna and not do the sinful activities again, so we can remain liberated. So, and also was just contemplating about this question. If somebody is not very sincere, he wants to just take the scriptures as a manipulative thing, or the Vani of the spiritual master as a manipulative thing. Practically nobody can save him actually. So sincerity is a very important this one. And with sincerity, if they are trying to serve, so then there is some hope is there. So, but if they try to manipulate, justify, whatever they do and things like that, it's very, very difficult to save that person. So first is like finding fault in oneself, and then applying the medicine of Krishna consciousness on oneself is a very important thing. So then, the medicine will be automatically applied on others. No, you don't need to give too much this focus on applying medicine on others. So primary thing is like to how I'm in a very pathetic situation and I need this treatment. So that helps a lot actually. Thanks.
Hare Krishna. One point I liked is how to get the blessings from sadhus is by giving oral reception to them. That means hearing with respect. That will result into getting inspired to practice. And of course, we'll get realizations, then we'll get inspired to practice, and then Krishna will be pleased. So that's the formula. I got it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for the wonderful class. So, you started the lecture saying, quoting your mother, how she was saying that the Lord takes care, and then you were very nicely correlating that how she has come to the realization that she is not the doer but Krishna is the doer. So I was just appreciating how one person's renunciation makes others realize great shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. It is a great realization, and surely because you are practicing sincerely, so they are getting this realization. So it's a ripple effect which is creating in your family, and certainly had you not taken this path, this effect wouldn't have ever come. So congratulations to you for bringing your parents to this very, very strong realization. You mentioned that human life is meant for transforming oneself and nothing else. I liked that point. And you were saying that taking shelter of Krishna and not acting in such a way that one will fall down again, then he is liberated. And only liberated people are intimate to Krishna, close to Krishna. Anybody who is close to Krishna means he is liberated. That means they are very clear about this, that my desire for sense gratification is not so dear to me than my desire to serve Krishna. So therefore let me not fall down. And if at all I fall down, I will still pray to Krishna to keep me in his service. So this is the sincere mood of everybody who is very intimate to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. Thank you, bro. Nice class. Same thing. I think 2 days before I was speaking with Arikshetra bro. Arikshetra bro was telling this like becoming a sadhu or becoming a full time. Initially, nobody appreciates it, but end everybody appreciates. This is the one thing we need to remember. Nobody appreciates initially. So even same my family also, my parents also saying, they were almost stopping me every step. But now they say every time they inspire me. My father says, I'll also come and join with you for preaching. It was really nice. Lot of transformation. They are chanting more than me. So 20-25 rounds they are chanting every day. So it's really nice. And you said that this is a kartaham iti mannati. So most of the time feel that I am the doer. So this is mostly make us to forget the Krishna. Krishna is the controller. So this thing should be remember always. I like this point. And the sadhu sangha, when we come to the sadhu sangha, we'll become antarmukh and we inspire to practice, and then more realizations and knowledge and detachment. So these all things comes, and we keep taking the association of devotees. Then our faith increases. Hearing from the realized souls with the faith. So that makes more and more connecting to the spiritual life. So these all points. Like transformation means we should not repeat. Once one devotee went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I am so fallen, so fallen. Prabhupada, I know that, but don't be in the same state. Come to... no, improve yourself. So you repeated that point. We can be a sinful person, we should not die as a sinful person.
So thank you, bro. Nice class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. Thank you for this class. So, taking shelter of Krishna and not repeat the same mistake, then a person is liberated. So, yes, that means is progressing towards the liberation stage that I understood, and get the knowledge from the realized soul. Like even the first chapter, first canto, second chapter. There, the Susrudo Sruddhadanasya, there also it's mentioned that one only, like hearing from the Mahat Seva, like same thing here coming, and then processing, that is practicing, and then detachment will happen. And that, and one more thing you said, pick any one of the instruction, do it, and Krishna will be pleased with that. It's a very nice point. So I take these points, Prabhu. I'm very happy. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the very nice class, Prabhu. So, as you mentioned about the realization about your mother, even like in my case also it happens. I keep saying this. So, means when I was there working and sending some amount of money which I earn, so they were not at all satisfied with that. But when I give up my life to Krishna, so they were not asking any money and they never used to call me again. So, and when they call, they just ask like, how are you and things like that. So, and I would say like, when I was there, I was not taking care of them and not satisfying them with that up to their limit. But when I joined, so I can say like, they are much peaceful. No, they are much happy when I was not able to take care, but Lord is now taking care. So He's not putting me or giving me that kind of pressure that taking care of family. So now Lord is taking care, so I am peaceful here. So peaceful in my bhakti life. So that was one realization what I had, like Lord knows what to what to give, what not to give, what is the best. So He's taking care very nicely, and it is now like Lord is doing his part. So now I have to focus on my part, like how can I like become sincere in practicing Krishna consciousness. And that was nice. And you said about the like hearing the lectures, that is one of the Mahat Seva, and especially hearing from Srila Prabhupada and even from spiritual master. So when I miss evening class, my Gurumas say what he gives every day. So he keeps on saying in the every class, saying that this is a class only for my disciples. So bring more disciples. I'm giving online class. So bring more disciples. And they announce also saying that physically it's good if you can come. If not, like please connect more disciples to the online. And the best thing is like when I go online, so I can see I can get special mercy blessings from Guru Maharaj, saying that he always bless. Yesterday I was there, fortunate to attend his class, so I was able to get his blessings. Like that I was able to get connected to my spiritual master, some Mahat Seva. So that was very nice. And that Prabhupada class also, so hearing very nicely and trying to follow, taking some of their, the whole class is like filled with instructions only. So at least trying to follow few of them, or one, at least one sincerely. So that makes a lot of change in our life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It's a wonderful class. Thank you, Prabhu. And here, the points what I realized like this. Kartaham iti manyate. Like whenever we are in darkness, we think that I am the doer. No, I have to take care. No, and like if any sadhu comes, also we won't accept, and all the instructions will become heavy for us, strong and heavy. know how it is possible. So at the time, to realize that, and you have given the solution also. What we have to do is, we have to hear from a sadhu attentively, and whatever instructions we have to attempt, or we have to follow in our life, and then knowledge will come. And knowledge is not like mugging up purports, word to word meanings also, and all that is not a real knowledge. The real knowledge is the realizations, and which will help not to commit the same mistake again. So this is what I like. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Stop here. And Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jai.